Hi, Homeworthy. I'm Rose from Ash Street Interiors. Welcome to my home in Northfield, Illinois. Come on in.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
I'm Rosemary Wormley. I own Ash Street Interiors, and welcome to my home. So we lived in Winnetka for 9 years, and we were actually putting an addition on our house when this house, which is in Northfield, just one town over, came on the market. And I had always kind of had my eye on this area because the lots are 2 and 3 acres. There's a lot of privacy here, but it just doesn't turn over very often. So we actually abut Sunset Ridge Country Club behind our property. And a friend of mine who belongs to the country club, when this house came on the market, she said, "This is the house for you. You have to go see it. It has land, it has a pool, it has a New England vibe," which is, I'm from New England, and that was what I was always looking for in a home. And even though we were putting an addition on our house in Winnetka, I came out to look at the house and I just absolutely fell in love. So I went back, kind of broached the subject with my husband, who I did not think was going to be open to even coming to see it. He ended up coming out to look at it as well, also fell in love, and we put an offer in on it right away, kind of before our addition was even done in Winnetka. And so we fast-tracked that addition, finished it off, put the house on the market, all in a matter of about a month, and the rest is history. So this house was built in 1920. When we bought this house, the additions were already on the home. The previous owner was also an interior designer and actually had taken impeccable care of the home and really had done a lot of beautiful renovations, but they had been done in the 80s and 90s. So it was, a little bit dated, but really beautifully done. At this point, we've probably touched almost every room and every space, just really to update it. So you'll notice as you go through my home, I do have a very coastal style. I was born and raised on the East Coast, and I do still bring a lot of that style and aesthetic into my home here. I tend to have a little bit of a minimal approach to styling, and to the decor. I love art. We focus a lot on kind of like the art and the textures and the colors in the home, as opposed to having a lot of highly styled spaces. And I have 3 kids. We entertain all the time, all of us. So as a family we entertain, but each of my 3 children also are consummate hosts. They're always having people over. We always host large groups, and I like there to be space for us to grow and work and move and be able to put food out or put feet up or drop bags down. And so I tend to like a space that's a little bit more minimal and functional and modular, able to move things around to accommodate large groups, accommodate different types of parties, different type of hosting. And you'll notice that I think in a lot of the spaces that a lot of the pieces can be reconfigured to create something new and different. Welcome to my living room. We do spend a lot of time in here, particularly in the winter. The fireplace is original, and this was all painted black, and we do have a new insert. I added this antique mirror here and added this trim surround just to kind of finish it off so it didn't look like it was just floating in the space. And we do use this fireplace quite a bit. I mentioned before that I like things that are modular and can be kind of reconfigured and moved around, and these ottomans are a great example of that. They're hide ottomans, super soft. We love to put our feet on them, but for functionality, I do have these great shagreen trays on the top, and they can be taken on and off. And so they're here, they're styled now, they're great for drinks and for putting things on, but when we want to put our feet up and be a little more casual, these can come off, and then the ottomans can be moved in any direction and are a great place to put your feet up. And these chairs as well, they're comfortable, but when we want to move them out of the way so that someone wants to lay in front of the fire or our kids do homework in here, these are lightweight and can be moved kind of over to the other side of the room and tucked in the corners as well. And these are just a beautiful World's Away chair and with a holly hunt pillow on them. And the lighting in this room is tough. I mean, I will say, so in older homes, there's not a lot of overhead lighting, and the lighting in this room can be tough, so we did have to bring in a lot of lamps and a lot of sconces to give us additional light, particularly in the winter. So we have added sconces here, and these are a vintage sconce that I found at an antique store in Massachusetts. And we have picture lights over here. These actually are family trees of my husband that his aunt did for his family. That goes all the way back to the time when they actually came over from Germany to America. And so we have 3 of those with the picture lights above. Here we have our piano, which we did have this when we moved into this house. And so it was really important to have a space for it that was kind of in the middle of everything. All 3 of my children play, and they all take lessons a little bit reluctantly now that they're teenagers, but they still do humor me and they all play. So it's a central focal point of our house. And I have these beautiful X benches that were done by Liven Up Design, who makes great custom furniture, and I have quite a few of her pieces. And this is actually one of my most favorite patterns. It's Schumacher Iconic Leopard, and I actually have this in a few places throughout the house because it is a favorite. This skirted table, you'll see quite a few skirted tables in the house. I love a skirted table because you can switch them out. I actually have several skirts and trims for many of the tables in my house, and I do turn them around kind of seasonally sometimes. I also love it because you can hide things underneath, and I won't show you what's underneath this one, but I actually have the children's piano books and lesson plans for piano tucked underneath this particular skirted table. And this piece of art, this is a favorite. This is from a local artist, Jack Flynn, and it's called Departure because you have this smaller rock kind of departing from the larger rock. And he painted this piece for Laughlin Gallery in Highland Park, and we purchased it from Laughlin. And I just love the colors and the subtleties. He's known for painting these hyper-realistic, soft landscape spaces, which is just perfect for my aesthetic. And I just love this piece. It's a favorite. So the paneling in this room is original. And when we moved into the house, it was much warmer, almost yellow color. And I really did struggle with wanting to paint it, but wanting to keep it original. And so what we opted to do was we did a hand-applied whitewash finish that my painter did for me. And I think it came out absolutely perfect. I love the space. I love that you can see the knots and the grains and even, the little imperfections in the paneling. But mostly I love that we were able to keep it true to its original form and not paint over it and still get the effect that we wanted. So even though this couch is white, it is a fully performance treated fabric. And so we do put our feet on it. The dog is on it. We love it because it's curved, conversational. We can fit a lot of people here. Again, I have this Schumacher Iconic Leopard, which is my favorite. So I have this on the couch. And then this is a fabulous Holly Hunt velvet with a large flange. And all of these pillows, we use them. We lay on them, we put them on the floor, we move things around. And I feel like the fabrics are great workhorse fabrics and they look luxe and the room still looks beautiful, but it's really functional and works really well for our family. So off the living room, we have this little vestibule here. And we call this the library. And we have built-ins for all of our books. We have more books underneath as well. It's painted this beautiful blue. And we also have our record player here. This is hooked up to our sound system throughout the house, and so we're able to play our records here and listen to it throughout the house, including outdoors. And we have an extensive record collection, some of which we keep out, and the rest of which is kind of hidden away in these shelves below. And I also have 2 of my husband's favorite pieces of art here because his office is just to the left here. There's a beautiful gallery in Steamboat Springs, Colorado, where we also have a home. And every time we're there, I try to go in and see what's new. And it's called Wild Horse Gallery. And we buy quite a bit of art from there. And this was a piece that I bought recently from Wild Horse. My husband's a big fly fisherman, and it just shows an oil of a fly fisherman in one of the rivers in Steamboat. And we had it framed locally in this beautiful leather frame by Will Frame It, and he does a lot of our framing for us and did a beautiful job with this linen mat and the leather on the outside. And on this side, we have another oil painting. This is from, actually my husband and I were on a trip to Cody, Wyoming, and we walked randomly through this art sale, and this woman, Tracy Stevenson, was there selling her art. And this particular painting is called Catch Me If You Can. And at the time, my daughter, the horse that she was riding in competition, the horse's name was Boogie, but the formal name was Catch Me If You Can. And so we felt like that was meant to be, and we bought the piece, again, brought it back, had it framed by Will Frame It here locally in this linen and leather as a complement to this other oil. And I think that they just work really well together in this little space on this beautiful grass cloth wallpaper. And then on the floor, we have yet another stark carpet, and this one is also animal print, a little bit different than what's on the stairs, but this is a beautiful black and white animal print from Stark, and provides a nice contrast to the softer grass cloth on the wall and the blue paint and the brass hardware. Now let me show you our courtyard, which is right off of our living room and one of our favorite things about the space. So this is our courtyard space, and when we first moved in, the courtyard was here, but it was grass. And so we put the edging in and added this crushed bluestone. We added this Harlequin outdoor patio area with a cover and a fire pit and comfortable couches. And we love this space because we come out here all year long, even in the winter. We roast s'mores out here, we hang out by the fire, and it's just a great family space for us all to be together in a more casual setting than being out by the pool, which is seasonal. Welcome to our entry. This is a very small entry, as you can see, and it is off of our front door. What we did in this space, just to make it feel a little bit larger and more airy, is we added this paneling from floor to ceiling and then painted it a soft gloss white. And this bench, there's a great story. Actually, this beautiful bench was designed by my friend Liz Sherwood of White Couch Designs, and she designed this bench for her room at the Lake Forest Show House. And I also did a space at the Lake Forest Show House. So when this particular settee was for sale, I bought it and brought it here, and it could not fit more perfectly in this space. It looks like it was custom made really for this space, and I just love it. It's so fun. The sconces are our interiors, and the art. We have a love of horses. My daughter rides, we have a horse, and we spend a lot of time traveling to horse shows, and so that's another thing you'll see kind of throughout the house is we have a lot of equestrian art and pieces that we love, and this black and white is one of them. And over here, this shagreen trunk is actually where I hide a lot of my packages that come in and mail, and it just helps to keep this space right near the front door a little bit, neat and tidy. And we do also have a small but mighty powder room right off of our front entryway with this beautiful cravat wallpaper and vintage art that we had framed locally. So now we're in the kitchen, which we did recently remodel about 2 years ago. And we put a lot of thought into the kitchen because it is the heart of our home. We spend a lot of time in here. Everyone in my family cooks. My husband loves to cook. I love to cook. All three of our children as well. And it's just a great space for entertaining, preparing meals, hanging out together as a family. And so we really wanted all of the materials that we use to be really family friendly, really low maintenance, and not have to worry about who was cooking what, how they were cleaning up after themselves, how many cooks there were in the kitchen. And I think we accomplished that by using porcelain as a surface. And porcelain has been used as a kitchen surface in Europe for a really long time. It's relatively new to be used in America, and you have to find a fabricator that really, really knows what they're doing with this product. But when you have someone who can fabricate it, it comes out beautifully. And it's heat resistant, scratch resistant. You can put hot plates right from the stove onto the surface, and you don't have to worry about being vigilant, picking up stains or cleaning up after yourself, which I love. And we used the porcelain on this island, all of our surround, and on our backsplashes as well for both the sink wall and the backsplash on the cook wall. We also carried it into our butler's pantry area for both the counters and the backsplash. One of the things we did in this kitchen that you'll notice that's a little different is we opted for a lot of drawers as opposed to cabinetry. And this worked well for us again because we all love to cook. We like things to be really just at arm's length. And so we have all of our dishes and pots and pans, cooking utensils, small appliances are all in these nice deep drawers that are along the perimeter and then also all the way around the island as well. We also knew in the kitchen that we needed an extra large fridge and freezer. And so we have this side by side. We did these panels so that they would look like a side by side with drawers underneath. But this is actually one whole panel for the fridge and then one whole panel for the freezer. And we did this in this beautiful cerused oak finish. So we also matched it to our vent hood over here. And we have an induction cooktop, which again, I think is a little bit rare. I think a lot of times you see people, putting in the big wolf ranges or a Le Cornu, but we really love induction cooking. We had one at our old house, and again, it's just great for the whole family to use. You can put the pan anywhere you want. It boils water in a matter of minutes. And once you remove your pan, it's cool to the touch. It's very hard to burn things. We cook with skillets a lot, and it's a really nice, even, temperate way of cooking that we love. So one of the best decisions that we made was putting in 2 full-size sinks. So a lot of times you'll see a full-size sink next to dishwashers, on your sink wall, and then there'll be a smaller prep sink in the island that's used for cooking. And so we opted for 2 full-size sinks. Our prep sink is actually larger even than our regular sink on the other side. And we did one of these galley sinks for the prep sink that has all of these modular pieces that can pop in and out, like the cutting board and the rinsing board and the strainer. And this was probably one of the best things that we ever did. We use it all the time for cooking, and it's super handy, easy to clean, and we love that we have all of this big, deep prep space and then have another deep sink across the island that we can use for our pots and pans and soaking. And we did also do double dishwashers, which again, I think is probably one of the best decisions, top 3 decisions that we made for the kitchen was to put 2 dishwashers in. They are always full and always running. So around the corner is our butler's pantry. And when we started in here, this was a command station. So when we moved in, this was kind of the traditional desk and filing cabinets and counter space that was very common for kitchens in the 80s and 90s. And we just decided that we did not need that space, but we certainly needed storage and we did need a pantry. And so again, here we opted for, more deep drawers, some cabinets on the bottom, and these beautiful glass cabinets on the top where we don't keep it highly styled, but we do keep all of the things that we use every day in these cabinets above. And we have a wine fridge here that's often filled with things other than wine because the kids come in and grab and go, but it is a nice feature to have here. This is where we kind of drop and go our mail, our keys, and this is where we put up kind of our invitations and important things that we want to keep note of. So we do have still a command center. It's just a lot smaller and a lot more organized. And then these are actually our pantry cabinets. The doors open and we have pullouts on the inside, and we use one side kind of all for food, canned goods, and the other side for small appliances like our mixer, blender, and things like that. And right off the side of the island, we have our dining space, which is part of the kitchen. We put as large of a table as we possibly could in here. We can seat 10, but we can also seat 14 if we really have to here. And a lot of times we have even more than that. And this space here, we even have been known to add tables and seating in here as well when we're accommodating larger groups. We opted for these lucite chairs here as opposed to doing something fabric or wood because, again, they're really durable. The pool is just outside. We have kids in and out in the summer. Sometimes they're wet. These are actually indestructible. You can spill on them, you can get them wet, they wipe off and come clean, and they always look fabulous. And that's one of the things I love about the space. So for a light fixture for this space, we needed something that was kind of large. The table is big and the space is large, so there's a lot of negative space. And we wanted something that was going to be kind of structural and architectural looking, but again, clean lines and kind of a simple palette. And we opted for this beautiful Aran chandelier. It's plaster on the outside, and I think it just gives a really beautiful light, airy look to this space without being too fussy. So another thing that's a little bit uncommon about this space is we do have this small laundry room off of our kitchen, which I absolutely love and I would never change. When we were redoing the kitchen, we did talk about taking this out and putting in a walk-in pantry, and we decided to keep this darling little laundry room, which really lets me stay on top of laundry all the time because everything comes in and out of the kitchen and then goes right up to where it belongs. There's not much in here. There's a washer dryer, a linen closet, a small table for folding, but it's perfect. Now we're gonna go to the dining room. So this is the dining room. Just like I love a skirted table, I also love using fabric as tablecloths, and you'll see that I have this as well in a few spaces. And this is just a fabulous Schumacher fabric that I love, that I have as a tablecloth on the table here. This table does have 3 more leaves that we can put in so we can extend it all the way basically to each end of the room. The room itself is not very large, but we are able to fit a lot of people in here. Again, we do have white fabric on the chairs, and we're able to keep it clean because it is a performance fabric and it is fully treated. One of the things that I love about this space is the art that we have in here is really meaningful. We have 2 special pieces. This art over here this is a Zach Smithy piece, and we commissioned this piece of Bob Marley for my husband's anniversary. And we're a very musical family. We all love music. We all love Bob Marley. And so we wanted to put it in a prominent space in our dining room. And this other smaller piece on the left, this is Kelly Reamston piece. And my husband bought that piece for me for our anniversary as well. And it's one of my favorites. And so even though the 2 pieces, when you look at them together, they don't really, kind of go together, but they're 2 of our favorites. And so we wanted to give them a prominent space in our dining room. This is another beautiful Aran chandelier from Visual Comfort. And again, I like lighting that's large and kind of statement lighting, but not fussy. We have this fabulous stripe wallpaper on the walls in blues and grays. And what I like about it is it gives this space kind of a casual feel so that it doesn't feel too formal. When we do take the tablecloth off and extend this table, it's a beautiful dark wood table. This table is actually an Edward Wormley for Dunbar table. And Edward Wormley is a famous furniture designer, and he also is related to my husband. And this painting it doesn't have any, special meaning. I did buy this one just because I loved the colors, I loved the blues, and it has that coastal vibe that I think works well in the space. And these built-ins are original to the house, and so again, instead of taking them out, we wanted to keep them and painted the interior the soft blue, changed out the hardware, and these are great felt-lined pieces for silver that we do use, and then we have our china storage below. Again, with the decor, I just like to keep things, simple, fresh, clean, easy to move around. I do decorate for the holidays and kind of switch these things around based on how I'm feeling. And again, kind of just a coastal vibe that I like. I find it relaxing and calming. This space here, this window seat, we recently redid the front of the house, the window and the corbels that were underneath. And there was a very long discussion about getting rid of this bay window and window seat just because from the outside, I think maybe a flat window would have looked better with the architecture. But we really could not get rid of Bertie's favorite dog bed. And so we joke, this is the most expensive dog bed in the world. If you pull up to our house, this is always where she's sitting. This is where she takes her naps, and we opted not to get rid of it. So we just let her lounge on these beautiful Schumacher pillows in cut velvet that you love, and we keep a quilt over the upholstered piece here just to try to protect it from Bertie. But this is her dog bed. In my home, I really do tend to decorate with what I love. And so it doesn't matter to me necessarily if it always coordinates or matches or even really fits in the space, particularly with art. I love to be surrounded with what I love, and I like to see the things that I cherish. And I think it's really hard to get clients into that zone sometimes. Our clients want things to look aesthetically beautiful, and I think they have a vision in their mind. A lot of times they want their homes to look magazine ready and not necessarily lived in. And our homes are definitely lived in. And so I think it's hard to get clients sometimes to go down that road of letting go of perfection to have something that feels really personal and really homey. So this is our family room, and as you can see, this is a very big, long space with high ceilings. And so in here, we really had to create zones. And so we have this area here focused on our TV, and this is, even though in today's standard it is a rather small TV, this is the only TV that we have on the first floor. We do have a larger TV in like movie theater style in the basement where the kids go when they want to watch TV, but this is kind of it for the first floor. So we have our seating area here focused on the TV, and then our seating area on that side focused on the fireplace. And so we have these two zones set up so that we can accommodate a lot of people and everyone can still feel like they're part of the conversation, but definitely breaks the room up into two distinct areas and just makes the space feel not so cavernous and long. In here, we have these great chairs. These are probably the most comfortable chairs in the house, and these were an estate sale find. And so there's a local woman, Annie, who runs Nest Estate Sales, and when she knew these were coming up, she actually called and said, I have these chairs and I think you're gonna love them. They're in pristine condition. I didn't even have to reupholster them. They came exactly like this, and she was right. They were perfect, and so I bought them. So these are great find. This is a vintage coffee table, and while it seems a little small for the space, I love that it disappears. And really in here, we're mostly lounging on furniture. We have our small ottomans that we pull over when we want to put our feet up. And so I love that this kind of just has a very clean, simple vibe and kind of disappears into the space. And we just keep it, again, not super styled on the top. We have the remote for the TV, plants, which I have everywhere and love, and just kind of keep things simple in here. We usually have a lot of people in here, and we've hosted parties and dinners and wreath making events at Christmas, and everything in here can also kind of be moved around and reconfigured. So if we need to have more bodies than furniture, we're able to do that in here, and that's part of what we love. And then this is our fireplace area, and here we have two of these fabulous Jonathan Adler conversation couches. And I feel like everyone's a little confused when they first see these because they are kind of funny looking, but they're really, really fabulous. And you can fit so many people on them. They're perfect for lounging. They're perfect for sitting by the fire. And they are great for conversation. We often find that we're all kind of congregated over here together as a family or when we're hosting friends. And I just love just the relaxed feel of these. And again, they're super, super comfortable. And the fireplace, again, is original, similar to the one in the living room. It actually is almost, the same as the one in the living room with the insert and a very simple surround. The sailfish actually is a replica of a sailfish that my husband caught in Mexico. And they do an artistic replica that looks like the exact fish that he caught. So he's very proud of this fish. And when this fish was first shipped from Mexico into our house in Winnetka, and we opened up the giant box, I thought, where on earth are we going to put that thing? And it was really jammed into a space that was much too small. When we bought this house, there was a lot of debate about whether or not this would have such a prime spot in the house, but my husband won, and we actually all love it. And I do base a lot of the colors that are in the room on this piece. So the rug that we have in here, this is a Stark Performance rug, and we did have this cut to size. So it spans the length of both of the sections, so it gives it some nice cohesion. And again, it's a performance, so it's super durable and it's easy to clean. We've had it for a long time and it still looks fabulous and it's still soft underfoot. And I love Stark Performance carpets for that reason. I think they're great. We use them all throughout. I have them in other places in my house as well. So this space is right off of the living room, but still part of the living room. And this has had many lives in here. We had a ping pong table in here at one point. We had 2 seating areas with swivel chairs and game tables at one point. And we actually brought in a larger table here during COVID. And this is where all of the kids were doing their homework and doing their schoolwork. And so once that ended, we decided to keep this as a dining space. And it works really well because it is off the pool. Kids do come in and out here. And we have this fabulous wet bar area over here, which again, for kids coming in and out of the pool or for entertaining is just a really great space. It has this beautiful butcher block top that we stained in this fun overmount sink in that blue that I love, and a lot of storage underneath for cushions and pillows and trays and things that we use a lot for entertaining outside. These chairs actually are a set of 6 original Tone chairs, and I found these at a garage sale in Evanston probably 15 years ago. And I was so excited to find out that they were original. They were wood when I got them, and I did paint them white, but I absolutely love them. They're one of my favorite sets of things that I found at a garage sale. And they're very comfortable and easy to keep clean. So the rug in this room, this is an indoor-outdoor, and I actually have 3 separate rugs that are sewn together to create one long space. And underneath the floor is stone and it is heated. And so this is a nice kind of cover for the heated floor, and you can walk on it when you have wet feet. It's completely scrubbable and cleanable. You can use bleach to clean it. And again, it's just another completely indestructible flooring surface that looks fabulous, but then I don't have to worry about it when we're hosting and when the kids are running around. So it also looks like a favorite Pierre Frey pattern that I love. It's not Pierre Frey, but I love that it replicates that pattern and has that same look. This space was an addition. It was here when we bought the house, but I know that it was added on because we had a set of the plans from the previous owner. And when they added this space on, they called it the Cabana. And originally it had kind of like chaise lounges that were facing out to the pool. All of these French doors actually, open up, and there are screens that pull and close. And so it can be used as an extension of the outdoors. We really use it more as an extension for our living room and for the inside, and then have separate furniture outside that we use around the pool. But we absolutely love the skylights in here and love that the light, that it brings to the space. It's just really beautiful. And these look fabulous from the outside and from the inside. So we love it. I have these in several places too. There's a set over there on that side and a set over here. And these are beautiful letterpress maps. There's a woman on Etsy, her name is Quill Lane Press, and she does these beautiful custom letterpress maps. And so I have them for Newburyport, which is where I grew up. There's Boston Harbor, and then over there we have Cape Cod and Cape Ann, which is where we got married and where we spend a lot of time in the summer as a family. And this fabulous bar, this is another incredible piece. This was designed by Rowan Ward Designs, and he is a bespoke furniture maker out of Wilmette, and he just makes really gorgeous custom pieces. And so he made this piece. It's fluted and has this beautiful, gray oak top, and it's on casters, so it can be pulled out from the wall if we want something to serve behind when we're hosting. And then when we just want to use it for a surface space, we can push it up against the wall the way it is now. So again, it's a really beautiful piece that's simple and sophisticated, but it also has a high level of functionality, which we love. So now we'll go into our mudroom and pool bath space. So this is another really long space that we have broken up into 2, and with the mudroom on one side, and we call this our pool bath area on the other side. And so this door here goes out to the pool, and this is a really nice way for kids to come in and out of a space. that almost acts as a pool house and not have to go into the main space. So we have this armoire here where we keep all of our pool towels, all of our goggles, sunscreen, and kids can kind of come just in and out here and get what they need and not have to come into the main house. We have this beautiful performance vinyl on the walls. This is a Tebow paper, and again, can withstand being wet, handprints, having, even wet towels hanging on these hooks here. It's a super durable paper. And we're able to, wipe it and keep it clean and looking fresh like this all the time. This is kind of a drop and go center. We have a lot of kids that come in, they're bringing bags, they're bringing phones, they want to, drop things here instead of leaving them outside. And we leave this surface kind of free for that. There's often, 8 to 10 phones charging on this space. And we do have several plugs underneath that can accommodate that. These, posts, again, these are also indoor-outdoor fabric. Sometimes we even move these outside when we need additional seating. And the rugs, again, we have a limestone floor. These rugs are a performance rug, great material. So it keeps when there's wet feet, it just keeps it safe and so that kids aren't slipping when they're coming in and out. And these prints here, this is a good explanation of our family. Half of us are always praying for sun and half of us are always praying for snow. We're a house divided for sure. And I think my daughter and I would always rather be on a beach, and my husband and boys would always rather be skiing. And so I think I just love these two prints, and they're cut fabric done in the flag style. And they're just a great representation of our family. So coming off of this pool bath area is the main mudroom. And in this space, when we moved in, the cubbies were here. They did have doors on them. And we took the doors off of the cubbies. I know a lot of people love closed storage, and I do as well. But the activities that my kids are involved in really call for having open storage. So our kids at camp right now and not in the ski season. And so the cubbies are a little bit empty. But in the winter, they're filled with skis and boots and helmets and all kinds of winter gear. And it's just a lot easier for us to have hooks in some, and in some we even have hanging rods where we're able to use hangers and hang up the things that we need. And then each kid also has their own basket above and drawer below where they can stash other small items. I have 3 teenagers, so everyone's pretty self-sufficient and we don't just worry about having things, on a low hook or with easy access. So the kids know which cubby is theirs. We have actually nameplates on the cubbies here. Like this one is Augie. That one says Teddy there. And then Antonia and Mom and Dad have one over on the end. And then there's extras because we do have a lot of stuff that we store in here, from lacrosse to skiing to horseback riding gear, which my daughter rides. And so even here we have a little, these fabulous brass tack hooks that you would normally find in a barn. And we put them here so that we can hang some of her tack here as well. And a tray here for her boots, which come in and out of this slider, and they're very muddy. So she gets kind of her own area there for her riding equipment. And my husband has his for fishing, tennis, skiing, and lacrosse. So it's a great space. And in here, this is a little bit unconventional to have in a mudroom. This is just a fabulous beaded chandelier. I just love the way that it looked in the space. I do have it over this bench, this is covered in a great indoor-outdoor Tebow fabric. This is actually a coated fabric, which is why we were able to tuft this bench. And you can spray this actually with Windex and clean it off. So muddy things can go on here. It's almost like having a laminate fabric. And this is actually new from Tebow, and I've been using it quite a bit. So with the bench underneath the chandelier, it allowed us to put something maybe a little bit, lower, a little bit softer. I feel like it gave this room more of a feeling of a room as opposed to just having a pass-through space or a mudroom. It gives it a little bit more of a feel of a place where you want to stop and kind of hang out. And this is the bathroom that is off of our kind of pool bath area. And again, I wanted to do something really fun. This is one place where I actually did go a little crazy with pattern for me. And so we have this fabulous Tebow wallpaper in this Hanshu print. And we also did a fretwork also T-bow on the ceiling. And we have this beautiful colored mirror here and kind of a real mix of materials in here. These fabulous Wheezy towels in the green stripe with the little tennis racket, and this great Worlds Away vanity in the cerused oak. And then here I do have, hooks across here. We do use this as a changing area. Again, the kids come kind of in and out from the pool into this space. They hang up their suits, they change into their clothes. And so this whole space kind of gets used as the way a pool house would, but it's just attached to the house. Now let me show you a beautiful pool area. This is our pool area, and we spend a lot of time out here in the summer. We actually open our pool in April and keep it open all the way to October. So we really try to extend the season and make the most of it, because then we have to settle in for the long Chicago winter. So we have a seating area over here where we can accommodate a lot of people. I like, again, the indoor-outdoor, easy to clean, easy to maintain fabrics and pillows and even surfaces out here. So all of these tables, from the side tables there to the modular coffee tables here, are really low maintenance. We can move them around easily. If we want to bring a larger table in here, which I actually have one kind of hidden behind there, we can do that. And so these pieces are also modular. So these couches can be made into a sectional or can be pulled apart and made into a smaller couch and a chair. So we do reconfigure the space quite a bit. And we have lots of umbrellas. I just love the fringe on them. When the wind blows, they just look lovely. And they have really great bases on them, which is really important here, because you want umbrellas that you can leave outside, close up for the night, and you don't have to worry about them blowing into your pool. So we have these fabulous 250-pound bases on the umbrellas that are also from Business and Pleasure, and I cannot recommend those enough. These side tables here also double as coolers, and these have just really great insulated storage space inside, and we do use those quite a bit. And they'll keep everything nice and cold, and we have two of them kind of on either side. So the pool was here when we moved in. I often say that I don't know that I would have bought this house. 10 years ago, had we seen it then, when I had all young kids, because the pool is so close to the house. It's right off of that living room area, the family room area that we were in before, and very close to the house. But it was here when we moved in. We've done a new surround, new coping, and we are actually about to replace some of the tile that's inside the pool this season. So it's one of our favorite spaces in the summer for the house. This is our patio space, and this is right off of our kitchen. And we do eat, cook, and live out here quite a bit, from the spring all the way to the fall. This table seats 10, and we do dine and entertain al fresco all season long. And so we love having a large table and being able to accommodate a lot of people. And here we have our herb garden. My husband has a fabulous garden on the other side of the property, but here we keep basil and parsley, oregano, rosemary, and we have some lettuce here, and it is a cutting garden, and we do use it quite a bit, just coming in and out of the kitchen when we need something. We cut it from here and bring it inside to cook or throw it on the grill, and it's really great to have it kind of in an organic style here right along the patio. And on that side of the patio is where we have mint and thyme, spearmint, and several other different kind of herbs on that side. And this is our garden, and I'd love to take credit for it, but I have to say that this is all my husband. I do advise on design, and of course I did put the benches and these fabulous pillows by Horticulture House along the side of his garden. But the growing, the planting, the weeding, and the care and cultivation is all on him. And so we have a cutting garden here for flowers with beautiful snapdragons, and we do cut these quite a bit and use these as organic arrangements on our tables. And he also grows many variations of peppers, tomatoes, eggplant, chard, and you can see there's one little pepper growing there, chives, and all kinds of different things in here. He grows Brussels sprouts and kind of changes it over seasonally. And we really do cook with it, all season long, and it's lovely to have, and it's a great space to just sit and enjoy your coffee in the morning, and it's a beautiful space. I'm very proud of him. Another feature of the house that we absolutely loved that was here when we moved in was the tennis court. And while I don't play tennis myself, this court is used for all sorts of things. And so anything from dance parties to movie theater nights. My kids ride their bikes on it. And so it's really been used more as a hard surface sports court than a tennis court, but we absolutely love it. So I'm self-taught. Our doors have been open for over a decade. And when I started in interior design, like a lot of people, I had kind of my whole entire life been drawn to it and been interested in it. I'd always moved things around, redecorated. I was always the one that friends called when they were prepping their homes for the market, or they wanted advice on colors and patterns and redoing kitchens. And this was even when we were in my 20s and 30s. And my background is actually in communications, and I had a career in nonprofit fundraising before I segued into interior design, but I'd always done it as a hobby. And when we moved into our house in Winnetka, which was also an old home, over 100 years old, we did a big gut renovation on the home that was kind of, all floors, inside and outside of the home. And I really took that as an opportunity to hone my skills, and I shadowed my contractor. I probably drove him crazy, but he was wonderful, and he taught me a lot. He let me come to all the electrical walkthroughs, and we talked to me about the rough-ins, and I kind of did everything from the ground up on that home, and I did it on my own. And after that is when I really decided to turn it into a business. A magazine actually came in and photographed the home and published it, and I thought this is a really good time to see what I can do and open a business. And so I had, very shortly after I started my business, I had a friend in Winnetka who was building a home, and she again brought me in with the builder and the architect, and that was my first big project. And the original plan was to kind of slow roll the business, do one project at a time, get my name out there, build a brand. But once I did this new build, I've actually had a waiting list ever since then, never been without a project. It took off a lot faster than I thought it would, so which I'm grateful for. So this is our second floor landing, and on the floor, stark again, we have this beautiful Antilocarpa carpet in navy and light blue, which is kind of a common theme throughout the house. And on the walls here, we have, again, a beautiful Tebow grasscloth paper that is a performance and can be wiped and washed just like all the other surfaces in our house, but it does have a little bit of a sheen to it, which gives it a little bit more of a formality up here leading into the primary suite and the bedrooms. This table is really our drop and go for the second floor. Right now, it looks lovely, but usually there are piles of laundry, things for the kids to pick up, things that I don't want them to forget, and I just love having this big space right at the top of the stairs. Everyone has to pass by it before they go downstairs, and so if there's something I don't want the kids to miss, this is where you'll find it. And then above here, we have this beautiful Kate Spade for visual comfort light. Again, it's oversized and big. There's no other light in this space, so we needed something that was going to cast a lot of light, and I just love the perforated circles. It's a metal finish. Again, a large statement piece, but it's simple in its design. So this is my daughter's bedroom. She definitely had a hand in designing it, and teen girls today, I think a lot of times they want things that are white and light and plain and very simple, which luckily for me, that goes along with my aesthetic. So we were able to design the space together. We have a little, coastal art up here. We did beautiful blue and white seersucker sheets, simple bedding, beautiful monogrammed pillow. This is, we try to keep her room fairly organized. Teen girls have a lot of stuff. And so we added this jewelry organizer for her jewelry and try to have trays and wall shelves over here so that she has places to store and stash all of her various little things that she collects. And on this side of the room, we have this large sectional Again, she always hosts a lot of sleepovers, has a lot of friends over, and they do love to hang out up here. This is also a performance fabric, which is why we're able to keep it so clean. And then we have this ribbon wall where Anna put some of her her recent show ribbons up, and so she can display them and keep them nice and neat. We rotate these out so it doesn't get too crazy and messy. And this light fixture, this is just a glass globe fixture. It does provide beautiful light. Again, there's no overhead light in this space, as is true for a lot of the rooms in the house, because this is part of the original house, which was built in 1920. And so we have a lot of lamps here, a lighted mirror, and then this light fixture that casts a lot of light as opposed to something maybe that had a shade or a chandelier. This one is both beautiful and functional. And she has a pass-through closet. Again, we opted for doing open closet space in here. It is a little bit of a smaller space. She does, have a lot to store. And so we have a whole section that's just for her writing stuff here. And then, oddly enough, you'll find a lot of teens have a massive collection of hoodie sweatshirts. And she's no exception. And so we have these kind of here color coordinated for her. Clothes on this side, and then shelving and drawers on this side. And then this is her bathroom. Again, another small but mighty space. And we tried to keep things light. We have this beautiful marble daisy stone tile, which we love. And everything has a honed finish, easy to keep clean, but keeps things really light and bright in here. Beautiful walk-in shower with a large niche for all of her various products. And we have this beautiful art by Katie Powell-Brickman, who's a local artist that does these gorgeous, colorful pieces. And I love her fresh vibe. Now we're gonna go check out the boys' bathroom. So this is the boys' bathroom, which we did just renovate. And this has a fabulous walk-in shower. This is probably the biggest of all the kids' bath showers. And we did this great modern fluted tile on the walls and wraps up all the way to the ceiling. And the boys, again, have this huge niche where they can kind of put all of their product, keep it out of the way and clean. And we opted for a really beautiful pebble stone tile on the floor and this lovely honed marble tile for the main part of the floor. Again, just really wanted to give this space an open, clean, simple vibe for the boys. Both of my boys share this bathroom. So we have the double vanity, these beautiful touch cabinets, which give them a lot of storage. There's hamper pullouts here that give them storage, for clothes, and then up here for towels and toiletries. And just another one of those maps from Quail Lane Press, and this is of Olympic National Park, where both of my boys have done backpacking and hiking trips, and so that's a meaningful place to us, and so that's the art that we selected for their bathroom. Home means family, for sure. Like I said, we host a lot, we host friends, we host family, our house is always full, and my husband will say, nothing makes me happier than when everyone is here. I grew up in a home that was the house where the door was always open and everyone always wanted to be at my house. And so I want to replicate kind of that feeling and that vibe here. And I think that we have. We constantly are hosting my kids and their friends, and everyone knows that they're always welcome here. And I think that home just means having a full house and having a happy house. Thank you for coming, Homeworthy. It's time for you to go. I have some projects I have to get back to. Hope to see you again.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content, shopping guides, and so much more.